It's so small like that, you know what I mean? It's crazy.
What's up, reluctant gamer? How you doing, bro? What you up to? Yeah, it is, bro. It's my coral farm I started. I have fish in there too, but they're in the other room. I gotta put my charger on. They're in the other room because they're in the hospital tank. They got sick, so I'm giving them medicine and stuff. I'm looking at my lizard. It's right down there. You can see the tank right there. She's exploring now because she hibernates a lot during the winter. Yeah, I got some clownfish. Yep. Alrighty. Is it hard to get into saltwater tanks? Yeah, dude. I'm gonna be honest. It is hard. It took me. Uh, Definitely do your research. But I had like my first three pairs of clownfish die. That's how hard it is. And I have a freshwater tank right here on this exact desk. You can see my desk. It's right here. I'm sitting on a big white IKEA desk, right? And I have my PC right in front of me to do my work. And then right next to my PC screen is my freshwater tank. It's literally a little nano tank like that. It's not planted at all. I'm not planning to plant it because I don't want to, be cutting stuff and then it overgrows and then I gotta cut. It has fake plants that look real enough. But every time I started with freshwater is very easy, but only 3% of the world is freshwater, right? Now think about that. I've never had fish that were freshwater die off on me like the way clownfish did. And clownfish are not cheap, dude. They were like 50 to $60. I think an adult that's like 4 inches almost, 3.5 inches, easily like $100, $90 for one fish. I bought these fish. I have a beta fish with other fish in the tank that are compatible with that fish. They live together. I have 3 species of fish in that tank, and they're all able to live together. And the two of the fish in there are able to breed, even though they're two different species. From what I understand, I believe that to be true. That being said, way easier, and they look exotic looking. Like they just paint the picture when you have a fish tank, like the freshwater fish tank I have right in front of me, next to my PC. It's if you were to get into it, I'm gonna say that like you just do your research, bro. Like that's all I'm gonna say. Cause I thought this was gonna be easy. I spent a couple $1,000s on this entire setup right here, and it was worth it for me because of where I know I'm going. This is one of my businesses for sure, and it's gonna stay that. I got 2 different corals in here, and they're doing really really good right now. So I'm very proud of that, and I'm gonna continue to grow them. And yeah, that's the best I could do. It looks awesome. So I might even raise it a little bit. I can't wait. I know my corals are gonna be growing soon, so I'm gonna raise that and then add some more down there. And yeah, and then I gotta like it's a whole different vibe when you like get into corals and stuff like that. It's not the same. I'm gonna be honest, it's not. Yeah, the clownfish are really really expensive. But guys, this is my work and study stream, so I'm gonna get back to my work and study stream. You guys are more than welcome to enjoy the scenery. My saltwater fish will be going back a week before the like the last week of May. We'll be returning to this tank, hopefully. And then I have 2 fish tanks in my room. But then I'm gonna get more fish for the living room that's right behind me because my family likes it. So that's it. So I'm gonna just put one in there. So when the family comes over, they can like enjoy the fish tank, you know. But yeah, that's pretty dope. So yeah, I have a couple different animals in here. Let's get back to this. Thanks for the questions, though. I love answering questions like that. But it's definitely worth getting into. Like it's a learning experience. If you like to learn stuff, then definitely get a saltwater tank before you get a freshwater. Freshwater is pretty easy in my book. I think even with like harder like fish like discus, freshwater, I think I would still do good. That's just my opinion though. I don't know how true it is. Uh,
That rules on a canine like a pit bull. That's a raccoon? Experts say yes. The original Montauk monster might have been one too. And that beak? Likely the decomposing bones and cartilage of a snout. Lucy has a point. Check out this creature. Can you name it? Turns out it's a hairless bear. You know, it never helps matters when the corpses of these animals go missing, fueling talk of conspiracy. But in this case, we can tell a lot from the creature's body structure, teeth, and claws. Our verdict? This is the carcass of a raccoon. May 2021, Saskatchewan, Canada. Two female security guards are working a 12-hour night shift on the Cree First Nation Reserve when they discover they are not alone. The footage shared to TikTok shows a grassy slope beside a parking lot as a robotic voice, a TikTok staple, narrates the user's comments. It's difficult to make out because it appears to be a nearly translucent humanoid figure walking towards the security guards. The figure seems to blend in with the tall grass and has no identifying features. As it gets closer to the car, the camera suddenly turns away and the video cuts out. The footage triggers a frenzy of speculation on TikTok. One of the most popular theories is that the security guards have had an encounter with something called a skinwalker. In Native American folklore, specifically in the Navajo traditions, we hear references to beings known as skinwalkers. And these are shaman or practitioners of dark magic that are shapeshifters, that are able to transform from a human into any type of animal. Typically, it's for malevolent reasons. In fact, in 1878, the hysteria over skinwalkers culminated in the Navajo witch hunt. 40 suspected witches were killed to restore harmony and balance to the tribe. Skinwalkers are greatly feared by the Navajo. In fact, it is forbidden to mention the name because of its bad luck and will cause doom to those that mention that name. There may also be a reason why this creature chose these security guards. There are theories that these skinwalkers are drawn to certain individuals. The premise behind this is to lure unsuspecting victims deep into the wilderness to cause them harm or to assimilate them into skinwalkers themselves. Since October 2020 alone, hundreds of videos with the hashtag Skinwalker have been posted to TikTok, accounting for 39 million views. So could this meteoric rise in Skinwalker videos lead to incontrovertible proof these evil beings exist? Wildlife biologist Dr. Stephanie Schuckler analyzes the video and doesn't see much to support the Skinwalker view. And she says there's an even bigger red flag. Next, we take the video of the science writer Mick West, who's fully willing to give it the benefit of the doubt.
It could actually be some kind of encryption coming out of the bow edge towards the car, but because it's such a low resolution video, because it's so highly compressed, you can't do the normal types of analysis that you do to see if there are indications of fakery.
Still, West isn't ready to call this a legitimate skinwalker. Instead, he offers up another view.
Kind of see a shape suddenly appear out of the bow edge, which amorphous, and it looks like a figure walking towards the road. If someone was to pay anticipated this, or someone was trying to scare somebody else, then you could very easily get this effect just by hanging somebody in a really camouflage suit and just kind of come out of the background. It is possible that there are some kind of strange creatures out there in the desert that we haven't discovered before, but this really isn't very good evidence of it. So I think I'm going to have to go with a guy in the suit.
We're going to go ahead and call these sightings legitimate, probably using some kind of camouflage like a ghillie suit. So no need to cancel your upcoming camping plans. But keep your eyes and ears open, and if something comes at you, well, we suggest you run away, just in case. October 2016, Craig McKay, Alaska's Bureau of Land Management, is overlooking the Chino River in Fairbanks when he notices something extremely peculiar in the water. It looks to be around 20 to 25 feet long. When you zoom in, it appears to be swimming against the current.
I looked down and saw this really bizarre object. It was much larger than anything I've seen in the